Hey, welcome back to Vice Grip Lodge. It is time to finish the hay bine or hay conditioner, the old John Deere 1207. We finally got a break in the weather. I have about 3 days where we've got some sunshine. Gonna try to put up some hay, which means this has to go back together and we've got to get it in some fields today, this late afternoon. So let's run back over to the shop. Got some parts. That was a nightmare. Start throwing this thing back together. We got the little Ford out. Bentley's making sure he can operate the brakes on this one. Got to kind of give her. This is one I restored on Roadworthy Rescues. And we're going to get Bentley raking hay probably tomorrow because I'll be filming Roadworthy Rescues. How you feeling?
Not bad.
Okay, why don't you take it up to the shop then, okay? And then you can throttle it up if you want. Once you get going, just pull that down a little.
All right, I'm going to go up the road.
Okay. It's a good little tractor. We got turf tires on it because I was pulling a finish mower, but this has a 3-point that works. The other one leaks off on that 8 end. So if you remember when we took this thing apart, we were trying to get new tines like this guy right here, and I ordered some off the interwebs, and unfortunately I got these back, which this is an old style, I guess. So now I know I have the newer style hay bine. I jumped on the Indian this morning and about 160 miles, something like that, round trip, found some. These are new old stock out of a very small John Deere dealer way northeast of here. So I think we have what we need to get the bar put back together, which is leaning up over there. Once we get that in, then I got to get some hardware for the sickle bar and jam this thing together. We got to get in the fields quick, very quick. I'm losing a bunch of drying time right now. So I guess I'm throwing, it doesn't really matter, but I'm throwing all the good old ones back on this half, and then we'll put the newer ones down on the end. Use some tape. I guess this is probably some sort of, basically a bushing, but this was cracked in half. It was so old, but just taped it up so I can get this cup over and get it settled when we get into the machine. And now I'm just trying to put this back together by memory as to where it was originally. It's fun. Took me a second to wrestle it in here because you got to get the spinner doodabber on the wheel chime into the down by the track of whippy woo. But get this to slide over that. Oh, see, this isn't right. I got to pull this out and get all the washers on this side. That's what those spacers are for, and then this goes on the inside. So got a little more wrestling to do, but there we can see the new tines on it. There's still some more busted ones in here, but it's gonna have to work for today. We're just out of time, unfortunately. Well, she's all bolted back up. I did lose, of course I had to replace the cotter pin here, but I did lose one nut, which I didn't think was that bad. I had to run up to the shop and grab one. Going to be hunting for those plastic bushings in here. If you know where to find those, please let me know. Also, these bars here. I think I could maybe straighten this out if I took it off, but if you could just, if a guy could just get the piece and it's not terribly expensive, that would be kind of nice. Someone had a bad day with a rock or two. Oof to me. But anyway, the hardware that we had ordered for the sickle bar also didn't show up. Evil Bay. I ordered this stuff I think 8 days ago, and just poof, gone. So now we're running all over the countryside trying to get this stuff. But if I get that hardware in, we'll slide this bar in, grease this thing down, check the chains, boom, we got to stab it in. Well, we bought another assortment box from TSC, but this time we got it. Last time there was 10 long ones. This time there was like 4. So we were short of what we thought we needed. So now we're using a home pack. You know, they use these to hang pictures or something. But it's this biggest hardware that I could find that we have that actually fits. It's not 1/4 inch, they're like 7/32 or something. So we double nutted these. You can see they're all different lengths. I'm gonna come in here with the death wheel now and clean these up, and then we should be ready to throw this back in. Now we just got to pray that this actually holds together We don't have any other options today. We got to go slam this in and get out there. We're losing some drying time, you know? So a guy's going to try to slide this in here. Hopefully we don't have any issues like that. It's got to go up or down.
Gotta go down.
Can you push on it with your foot? Don't get your fingers in there no matter what.
Try pushing.
No. So we are having clearance issues with the nuts. They're just barely hitting the guides there on the top. So we're gonna pull this out again and go hit them all with the flap disc. You can see some of these, it's cheap hardware. It sticks up higher than the nut a little. I gotta smooth that out. And you can see here where it was just clipping the head. So we're just gonna go and trim these up. And it's gonna make it really tough for them to get out in the future, but you know, you used to just grind them out because they were all rivets, you know. So this is kind of the fancy way to do it. That one was hidden. So we'll just go a little by little and clean it up. Well, I believe I'm on fire. Well, if you're wondering how hot it is out here today, there you go. I think that's a first. Push! Give her!
Jeez.
I think you're hitting the plastic.
Yeah.
Put an extension on her.
Yeah.
We're adding some fire extinguishers because if my leg starts on fire, why wouldn't this, you know? We're gonna add one to the baler, and all the tractors have one in them too. I don't want to be that guy. So Benny's gonna put that on for me, and I'm still working on this guy. Grinding. There, now when the bearings fail that we're not gonna check and pretend we did, at least we can attempt to put it out before this burns down. Okay, go ahead. So Bentley's grabbing a nut and a socket for that. Got her in. The old wood trick worked. I don't like doing that though. You could tell it's been done for years. And that shiny spot is it's starting to cave that in. You can get these pieces still surprisingly cheap, like 20 bucks, but that's besides the point. I left a pin in this one so it didn't collapse on me. And now we just got to put this nut back on, and then we're gonna grease this thing up, oil the chains, get the tractor hooked to it, fire up the PTO or the power takeoff here, see if it just does this, and then we're just going to jam in the field and see how it does. We're not going to know until we try. Hold on. Okay, again. Okay. We got everything else greased up all the way around the machine. I don't like the look of this belt or this chain, but we'll have to deal with that later. Let's get the tractor out and hook it up, huh? This right now is set up for my baler as far as where this pinhole is. If you look at a size 13, they ask for 14 inches from PTO shaft to hitch. That's as close as I can get it for the baler. I'm gonna guess we're gonna want it pretty sunk for this as well, and the reason they do that is the extended PTO shafts, otherwise you get a really bad wobble in them if this shaft is too far out or too far in. Also your turning radius and all that stuff, but I'm going to tighten this down here and we'll throw it on. Whoops. Actually goes like that, and then these sides get walked down. Got her all hooked up, getting ready to go. Just did a PTO test on idle, and right away hit the clutch. There's a clutch on this. If something goes wrong, it slips this. And then I immediately saw what I did wrong. This wheel should be back here. So when it comes around this way, it's shaped like that. And what happened was it came straight down and just smashed right into this and stopped the feeder. Not a big deal. We just got to take these 9 bolts out really quick, lift this up, slide this over, drop it right back down, and then Mom's making us dinner, and then we can hit the field. Do you want to grab that 1/2 inch, the Jabberwocky extension impact, and we'll get this done quick. Not bad for a super cheap machine. And really, as long as the rollers are working, I'm gonna assuming the old boy had them adjusted. What these do is they crimp the hay and they crush the stalks or crimp the stalks, and it allows moisture to escape faster. So this speeds up your drying time is the intention of this unit here. They have these on disc binds now, and they have a lot of disc bind mowers down south without this, and they like to tether the hay down here. Up north, we always just ran a conditioner and followed it with a baler. So I'm kind of swimming in different waters down here, trying to figure out hay season. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Well, the guy's back in the shop, but just only for a couple minutes. Got to get hydrated as possible and get a quick meal down. And this is where I have to thank Factor for sponsoring today's video. Now, a lot of you may not know this, but I used to be in really, really good shape for most of my adult life. But, you know, 3 kids and 2 YouTube shows and a TV show and all the travel that I do for all of them. Life itself, things change, right? And I make terrible meal choices now, and I no longer go to the gym. I just don't have time for it. But thanks to Factor, I'm starting to get back on track. Factor is a subscription meal service that delivers delicious meals right to your door, and they're a very simple heat and meat solution. Literally 2 minutes. Zap, you're eating. Let's head over to the fridge, see what I got left. You know, one of my favorite things about Factor is they have over 35 different meals and 60 add-ons to choose from every week. So not only do I have my favorites, but I get to explore all sorts of new meals and flavors all the time. Guys also got some juice in here from Factor. The pineapple mix is probably my favorite. And they also have smoothies. If I forget breakfast, I'm extra hungry, or I'm really in a pickle time-wise, just grab one of these and hit the road. But I'm thinking chicken today. Let's see what we got. So I've got tomato and Romano chicken, chicken piccata, ground pork chili, and poblanos. Ooh, that sounds good. Cheesy chicken and peppers, jalapeno lime cheddar chicken, without a doubt, that's my favorite. Black pepper and sage pork chop. You know what? I'm gonna try the ground pork chili. I don't think I've had this one yet. I was going for chicken, we ended up with pork, all right. Poke a couple holes in this bad boy, let it breathe. Go for 2 minutes here. You know, this is really, really convenient for me. I legitimately don't have time to go to the house, try to figure out how to make myself something edible. Poor Jessica tried for years to whip something up to meet my crazy schedule. That never worked out, and I'm certainly tired of driving all the way to town for a very poor meal. This is the way to go. Okay, we'll give this a shot. Came with some chili garlic butter as well. Yep, that's really good. So if you're ready to try Factor's fresh, never frozen meals, go over to factor75.com, and hey, listen, use code ViceGripLodge50 at checkout, and you're gonna get 50% off your first box and 20% off your orders for the next month. That's huge savings. Again, that's factor75.com, code ViceGripLodge50 for 50% off your next box and 20% off for the next month. Thanks once again to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to haying. Well, let me finish my pork chili first. Well, we just roaded it to a field here. We got to move it from road to field, and Bentley just blocked that tire over there, and we're going to pull this pin, and then we're going to drive forward, and it's going to swing this arm over here, and then we'll drop the pin back in. And what that essentially does is it moves this out from the tractor, although this is somewhat stuck. Yeah, might have to go backwards just a touch. You want to put that block behind that tire, and I'll come backwards and loosen this pin. All right, now. Okay, drop it in. Okay. So far, it's doing really good. Haven't had any issues. This is thinner stuff here. We went through some nice heavy hay earlier and it didn't clog. So this one's a smaller field. It's about 15, 16 acres. We just outlined it. I got the conditioner lifted up. We're going to inspect everything. But I think I'm going to open it up a second time around because of all the trees I got to go around. I don't want to drive the cab through them. So we'll go twice this way and then we'll start making our rows. We'll dissect it, cut it in half or something. But let's go see how the conditioner's doing. Was pretty clogged up in there?
Yeah, I've already been kind of ripping it out for like all of this.
Yeah, you could throw all that down. That's pretty good looking hay. It's thin in spots, but overall it's pretty good.
I heard a big clunk one time.
Yeah. We don't know if we hit a rock or a chunk of wood. But I'm gonna kind of crawl around in here. Just make sure all the guards and knives look good. But man, is it cutting nice.
Was this already gone?
Yeah, that one was broken. There's a couple with singles broken. Well, everything visually looks great. For an old machine, I mean, it's really loud. Don't get me wrong, it's something else, but it's cutting awesome with all these new knives. We got quite a bit to go. I got 2 other fields I want to get into today before we get any more moisture on this stuff. So let's get in and just get rocking. Trying to make some room around these trees. And it's also thin up here, but Bentley's gonna rake tomorrow and get this cleaned up. But once we get this etched out, then we'll start running the other directions. Guys, been cutting at about 4 miles an hour, give or take, 4.1, 4.2, and it's doing just fine. So I'm actually going to kick it up to about 5 miles an hour and see if we don't overrun the bar. It'd be nice. 1 mile per hour doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you're in the field. So we're going to see if we can run 5. This is heavy up towards the top of the hill, and then it really thins out towards the bottom. We're kind of on a weird shaped hillside. So I think it might do okay. We're going to give it a run, see what happens. And if this works, it's going to save me a tremendous amount of time. So we're running 5 here, coming down into the lighter stuff. And I don't think it was overwhelmed. It seemed to do just fine. It's not plugging, it's not throwing any grass forward out of the tines. So we'll take a look at it when we come back up the hill, I guess, but I think we're all right at 5 miles an hour, which is great for speed, but I guess not so great. It means the grass isn't as thick as I thought it was, or what I hoped it to be. We sprayed this particular field as well, so was hoping for a little bit better return on it, but that's just the way she goes sometimes. Right through this area coming up here, it gets pretty thick. And at a little over 5 miles an hour, it starts getting a little plugged. Watch the rollers in the back. See how that hay's building up on it now? I think we'll be okay this time. I've had to ease out of it a little bit, let it clean out a few times. There we go. Slow down, let it clean up. But still not bad at 5 miles an hour. We're clipping right along. So on this field, I cut it in half and then basically just work back and forth down the center. And when I get this wide enough in the middle, then I'll start flipping out to the outsides basically. But it reduces the amount of times that I gotta turn or back up or do any of that stuff. But we're making pretty good progress. It's about 5:30 in the evening. We've probably got about 2 hours of hay time left. We should be able to get this field finished up, but I got a couple more small ones I'd really like to at least start on today. Well, we're fueling. About ran her out. And we'll take a close look at the rig before we head out. We got it almost finished this one field we're on now. And then we got to route it over to another unit and start on that one. But no complaints so far for an old rig. Not bad. So we did notice, actually Bentley noticed, that once we started running 5 miles an hour, this stopped clogging up. There was a bunch of hay that would sit back here, and that has ceased. But something I'm just noticing is that roller seems closer to the frame than this side. I wonder if this is sitting at an angle or something. See that? Look at the left one. Better take a look at that. I don't know. I know how to adjust them in here, but I don't know how to decipher the need looking at the stocks. I've got to get the manual out on this and take a look. This belt's hanging in there surprisingly. I thought that was going to be an issue. Our tines haven't fallen off. All the knives look knivey. Some pretty excessive wear on that one. So we can adjust that. That's not a problem. So the bottom roller is fixed, and it's doubly fixed because I see that it's been stick welded, so that's not coming apart, nor should it move. So the only adjustments on the top roller, and that guy does this and that, but it's doing the thing. I'm just going to let it be, and I guess I'll look into that a little bit further and see what can and can't be done there. Cheap way to get hay down. Gonna run to the house, top off the cooler, get a, some beef jerky, nacho cheese, something to wet the back neck, wobble popper 6, finish up this field, and then we'll just route it, and we'll catch up with you when we get over to the other field. That's smaller, up on a kind of a hilltop behind some outbuildings there. That's a first cut, obviously, as well. That one wasn't sprayed. It's a little bit weedier, but it might be thicker than this, so I don't know if we're going to be able to run 5 miles an hour. We might be down to 3, but we'll see. But we got to hurry because the sun's getting down on us. Getting late. Jessica brought us homemade macaroni and hot dogs. It was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Getting dark. We're almost finished. Got this little sliver here. We got to put this thing in road mode and get over to the hilltop field. Now we're roading it over to the next. Yeah. Got it? Okay. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Okay, front of the tire. He's gonna put the block in front of the tire. Now, okay. Back up here. All right. So basically all of this gets cut tonight. So I think there's some long-standing argument, maybe, about cutting hay at night because moisture content starts getting in there and whatever, but I think anything before midnight, personally, there's really no dew. And growing up, I spent many a night sleeping in cabs of tractors. In fact, some farms and ranches don't even hay until night. Something about sugar content, and I don't know, okay? Today's the day I got to do it, and that's when we're gonna do it. We got plenty of lights on this tractor, so we're gonna make it happen. The reason we have this fancy pants tractor is I have the most severe outdoor allergies, and so does Bentley, like worse than asthma. I can't breathe. It's hospitalization basically. So this sealed cab with the filters and everything is a must for haying. Baling, I can suffer through it with medication and a dust mask, but anyway, since we have the nice cab, we hung some lights off the thing, and we got a work light that's going to shine on the hay bine, and plenty of lights up front. So let's see if we can get this field knocked down tonight. Rock or something. That didn't sound good. We'll check it at the end of the road. Oh yeah, it is getting some moisture on it. Okay. Boy, that knife got whacked really good.
Ends of like all of them are a little
I think we're okay. I don't know. Maybe the tines just hit something.
maybe. Paint's already coming off of this.
Yeah. Boy, we got some big windrows out here. What a great field. We're gonna have some huge windrows out here. I don't know what we're gonna do about raking, but this stuff is not going to dry in 3 days, I don't think. I looked at the front of this and thought, that ain't bad. But man, all the way back in there, it's over the whole hay. How high do you think that is?
How high?
Yeah.
Well, it's a foot over that.
It's about as tall as you, ain't it? Some places?
Taller than me. It's big.
That's crazy. The old 1207's eating it though. We're going to keep going. I decided to split this. There's a lot of corners and angles in this one, and it's obviously dark. I can't see nothing, so we're gonna try to get a rip though. No breakdowns today, no clogs. This old machine, boy, they get a bad rap. There's a lot of bad reviews on these, believe it or not. But hey, I'm pleased thus far. Hasn't plugged yet. It's been pretty close. I did, it's worth mentioning, I did slow it down about a 1.4 mile an hour over the other field. So we're moving slower, letting it bog deep, you know. But it's doing great. There it's getting a little full, but that broadleaf stuff, gets in them rollers. Slows it down a little bit. There's a good example at the hike. Well, we got our first plug. See there, not cutting. But this is getting, it's so late, or early I guess. See that sheen? Well, actually, easiest way to show you is the tires. You see your tires getting wet. A lot of moisture. So now, got to try to get this unplugged. And then see if we're going to struggle through this last bit. Can't see anything, but it's from here to there. Should be fun. Been digging. All this came out of the sickle. We had a big anthill somewhere, and clean that up. That's probably part of the problem, but it's just getting so wet. Look how wet this is. I'm going to try to power through because this is the only night I have to cut, and then I go 5 days straight into roadworthy. That's why Bentley's going to be helping rake because I can't. And then day after tomorrow, day before it starts raining, I'm going to take a lunch break and disappear with the baler. Whoops. Well, the crew's pretty good. They're very understanding that I've got a million things going on. So, but anyway, let's fire it up. Hopefully this thing will rotate. We didn't lose the belt, which is the biggest thing. So let's see if we can get it moving again. All right, here we go. Yep, great, we're good to go. Well, I think we're done for tonight. We got everything we could see anyway. I'm just letting the rig clean, you know. We'll ride over here early tomorrow morning, probably 6:30, with the side-by-side and see what we got, see what we cut. And then we got to decide whether or not Little Man's going to rake this, because those are some huge windrows, and I don't know that the roll-a-bar is really going to do much of anything. It really needs a tedder, which I don't have currently. And I don't know that that's going to get dry enough to bale, so in 2 days. It's going to be interesting to see. But anyway, we're going to road home. We got quite a trip, and we'll see you guys in the morning. Well, good morning. Sun's just peeking up over the hills. Out here checking out what we accomplished last night. This is that fescue field we started in the morning, or late afternoon I should say. It looks pretty good. Half of this didn't get any sunlight, unfortunately. This should dry out pretty fast. I'm hoping late afternoon tomorrow I can actually start baling this. Today the plan is to try to throw a rake around this, but we'll see what happens. It might be later. Let's run over to the other one. It was pretty dark last night. I want to make sure I didn't, run over anything, or miss some big spots, stuff like that. Let's go check it out. Well, I think the guy did okay. I don't see any big missed spots or anything like that. This Johnson grass, we didn't have this up north. This is a southern grass and stuff here. I'm not very familiar with it, but I'm told if you can get it before it goes to seed, it's really good stuff. This is a mix of fescue. I think there's some blue big stem in here, and then this Johnson grass, and they're kind of pockets. This corner is all basically Johnson grass, but big windrows. I don't think there's really any point in even trying to rake this, but we'll have to see how this Johnson stuff starts drying out. So, well, we got her licked. Well, that's going to do it for cutting for now. We've got a couple small little areas I need to knock out, but we're going to have to wait till after the rain. Don't think we're going to be able to squeeze it in. The little John Deere did pretty good. We had one plug and that was my fault. Getting anxious, wasn't paying attention to speed. I should have slowed down. I knew there was moisture coming. But other than that, it did absolutely fabulous. And the best part is I have virtually no money in the thing. So if you guys want to see more cutting, or you guys want to see baling or raking or whatever else, bleep bloop it down there below, would you? Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys very, very much. And we'll see you pretty soon.